So let's have a look at how well my portfolio fared in the past 5 years. First of all, I want to clarify the initial starting point. As I want this example to be as clear as possible, I've actually simplified my portfolio somewhat. Performance here doesn't show any rebalancing I did in my portfolio. For instance, I've sold some stocks when I deemed them a bit too expensive and reallocated my portfolio at times. I've also not included other factors such as the reinvestment of my dividends or additional purchases in subsequent periods after the starting point. So, what you see here is the basic form of my portfolio, so that you can simply see how this fares already without any optimization mechanisms I did over time. This simplified version of my portfolio shows a €100,000 investment equally allocated to the 25 positions in the portfolio. Hence, every stock makes up 4% of the portfolio. And just to go back, these 25 stocks are the ones that I have put in my portfolio. Some of them will definitely sound familiar, such as Johnson & Johnson, the Coca-Cola company, 3M, Wells Fargo, Adidas, PepsiCo. Some of them are dividend kings, some of them are dividend aristocrats, and you will definitely hear more of those and of those specific terms in the remainder of the course. But to come back from where we were, so €100,000 initial investment equally allocated to the 25 positions in the portfolio, so hence every stock makes up 4% of the portfolio. Even though this isn't exactly the same as my real portfolio, which actually did somewhat better even, the point of showing this proof is that the dividend growth investing strategy, even in its most simple form, works. And as you can see, it works very, very well. The dark blue line shows my dividend growth portfolio's performance with the dividends included. So it shows both the capital appreciation part of my investment, being the stock prices of my investments going up, plus the dividends I received. So the dark blue line shows my total return on my initial investment. The light blue line shows the capital appreciation part only. Even then, the investment still significantly outperforms the red line, which is the S&P 500 including dividends, so the total return of the S&P 500. The orange line shows the S&P 500 without dividends. If we look at how my investment performed, it started in mid-2010 at €100,000 and reached a value of €290,000 by June 2015. That is a 190% increase or an annualized 23.77 return. The S&P 500 also realized a strong return, but the total return is only 104%, which is relatively much lower than my portfolio's 190% return. The S&P 500 realized an annualized return of 17.05% compared to 23.77% for my portfolio. That is a difference of 6.72% annualized, which is incredible. Especially if you think of the yield on a savings account or a treasury bond or even a high yield bond, or an average investment in stocks. Now, like I said, this is merely to show you the power of the dividend growth investing strategy in its most basic form. My actual portfolio did even better because of several factors. First, this basic scenario doesn't even include dollar cost averaging yet, which I'll explain further in the course. It doesn't include the dividend reinvestment effect, which boosts the portfolio and which I will explain further as well. The portfolio only shows a 5-year period, while dividend growth investing strategies have a special compounding effect that actually shows exponential growth after 7 years or so. So time is extremely favorable for dividend growth investing strategies, and that effect is almost not even visible yet here. Then, the portfolio doesn't take into account purchases of new dividend growth potentials, which is a special category of dividend growth stocks that I will explain throughout the course as well. Examples of these new dividend growth potentials are Apple and Gilead Sciences, two companies I have invested in that are positioned for strong dividend growth and that have returned significant capital appreciation in the last years. The basic scenario here doesn't show my rebalancing efforts either, meaning that I sometimes sold a part of a position to invest in another. For instance, if one stock increases very rapidly, its percentage of total allocation increases as well. And sometimes you might consider that stock therefore to be somewhat over-allocated in your portfolio, or getting somewhat expensive, which is why you want to rebalance towards a lower priced stock. So know that While this is already an incredible portfolio in its most basic form, it can be tweaked to an even better one when putting the right mechanisms in place. And of course, this course aims to teach you those as well.